Look at all that energy. It's something right there. It's something right. Can you hear us?
What is that? Is there a ghost in here? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Realest People in Real Estate, where we talk about the real shit and not about real estate. Oh my goodness. I'm one of your hosts, Brooke Jones, aka the Millennial Agent.
I'm Tyraa Nicole here.
And it's just us today, guys. Yeah. Nicole, she had another reconstructive surgery a couple days ago. Hopefully it's her last surgery that she has to have.
Yes. And she did say that it was her last one, so.
Yeah, and I think everything went well with it.
Yeah.
We kind of checked up on
We did.
her.
And so it's just us today. So
yeah, and last week we did record a podcast, but I got a new camera, a Sony, and I didn't realize that there's a feature on the Sony that you can record just in slow motion, and I didn't realize that until after the podcast was recorded when I went to go edit, that everything was in slow motion. And so I don't know why Sony even has that feature on there. It's so annoying, but so this is a first podcast because the other one didn't work. But
and you know what? I hate that slow motion thing. Like, that seems to happen to me a lot.
Really?
On my videos. Like, I'll be recording and then I'll be thinking like I got like some good stuff, and
isn't that so annoying?
I'll go back and look and it's in slow motion.
On your phone?
Yes.
Oh.
And I'll do it like mistakenly and not realize. As a matter of fact, I like just did that.
Like you did your whole makeup routine and then you looked at it.
Well, it wasn't makeup routine, but I was capturing like a whole day because I had a closing yesterday, and like the whole process. I've been literally working on this process for a year with the seller, because we had to go through like probate court and all this stuff. So I was so excited that it was closing day. So I was like, I'm gonna capture the whole thing. Yeah. So I like captured it from. She's older, so she wasn't able to attend the closing. So I signed for her as power of attorney. Mm-hmm. So before I went to the house and I like explained all the closing costs and all that in the closing statement. So I was like trying to capture.
Wait, did you say you signed for her for power of attorney?
Mm-hmm.
You can do that?
I do that a lot.
Wait, can you legally do that?
Yeah.
Really? How?
Yeah, you just get a power of attorney. Have a notary sign a power of attorney where she signs it and says that whoever can sign on her behalf.
No way.
I do that like a lot.
Even when just like listing, like actual listings with their agreement, you can like fill everything out if you're there.
Yeah, I don't normally do all of that. I normally just do like the closing. Sign the closing docs for
So
them.
she doesn't have to go to closing.
Right. So she didn't have to go.
Oh.
Yeah. Because, you know, like I said, she's older. So with the listing docs, it's a little different, because if they can't get out, I can just, you know, go to their house and do it with them if they're older. But, you know, for closing, they need to actually be there if they're the seller to get docs notarized and things like that. So, yeah, so I did the power of attorney for her.
Wow. Okay, so you just go to a notary?
Mm-hmm. Just have a notary sign a power of attorney.
Okay.
Well, she has to sign in front of the notary, the power of attorney.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had to get the power of attorney notarized, and I signed on behalf of her at closing. So I was trying to capture everything, and so I was videoing me going to her house and, you know, going over stuff and everything, but the majority of it was in slow motion. So I was like, oh well, but I did get a lot of it, but it was like a part of it that was like in slow motion. So, but it was cool.
Yeah.
Came out, we closed and everything, so she was so excited, like, to be done with the house.
I bet.
So, yeah.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about real estate on this podcast today, because let's talk about the market and how it's changed.
Yes.
You said it took 1 year to close that?
Well, that's because we were going through like probate court.
Yeah, I've never dealt with that probate.
Yeah, I've dealt with it before, but this one I was a little more hands-on because she's a close friend of the family. She's friends with my mom and things like that, so I knew her personally. Okay. So I was really hands-on with everything, and at first I tried to do it myself. Like, I was going to try to file the paperwork myself, and because I helped another client, and I this was probably about 6-7 years ago. I helped her through the whole probate process. And so I thought it was going to be the same way, but this one was a little more difficult. So in the midst of it, like, we were like 2, maybe 3 months in, I was like, look, we got to get an attorney.
Oh.
I was like, this is too much work for me, and it's kind of out of my league. So we got an attorney.
All right, so run me through the power, or not the power of attorney, the probate process.
So with the probate process, with this particular one, her husband and her mother-in-law's name was on title, and they both had passed away already.
Oh.
So she just never bothered to get it like switched over or anything, so it had always just been in their name. And her son was staying in the house, so she didn't worry about it. Well, her son actually ended up passing away like about 2 years ago. So now she's finally like, you know what, I'm just gonna sell this place because, you know, I don't live there. It's just sitting there. So now we have a problem because she wants to sell it, but it's not in her name.
Right.
It was a will and everything that left the house to her. But what a lot of people don't know is even if you have a will, that means nothing. Well, it just makes the probate process a little easier. It doesn't just automatically mean, okay, the house was left to you, now you can go sell it. You still have to go through a process. And the process is going through probate court. The whole purpose of probate court is to make sure that it's no other living descendants or anything that is going to claim rights to that house.
Okay.
So in her case, it wasn't. Unfortunately, everyone had passed away. So it was no one else. The house was already left to her in the will. So it was just a matter of letting the attorneys go through their process of assigning her as over the estate.
Okay.
So that's the whole process. It's getting whoever is trying to get over the estate, giving them those rights.
Okay, and then if there was somebody that was still living, they would have to split it, correct?
If they if they protested it. If they put up like a fight against it.
Okay.
So you have to even publish it, like they have like these, it's called some type of newspaper or whatever. They still do that. They have to publish it there showing that this house is going to be going up for sale. And they do that for like a certain amount of time to give people time who might want to come up and say, hey, no, I have rights to that house or whatever.
Like at a wedding when they're like, does anybody...
Right.
What do they say? Like, does anybody...
Yeah. Do anybody object or whatever?
Right, object to this marriage or whatever. Okay, so you've done 2 probate...
Messed up now. Go ahead.
So you've done 2 probate situations in your real estate career so far.
I have, was it 2? Maybe about 3.
So when you first took on your first probate transaction, how did you deal with that?
That one was actually pretty easy. I have this thing where I work very well with like older people.
Okay.
I don't know, it's like we have like a really good chemistry. So people say I have like an old soul or whatever, I don't know, but in this instance, it was a lady that just like called in. I don't remember exactly how I got her, but she was a lead that I ended up just following up with. I didn't even like know her to start. And we developed like this really good connection. Like she didn't have any kids or anything, and she was like maybe in her 60s. And she started even like calling me her daughter and everything. So I actually went and like picked her up. And then, like I said, this was about 6 or 7 years ago. I went and picked her up, took her downtown, and we went and filed the paperwork for probate.
But how did you know even what to do? I feel like if someone asked me, like, can you help me with my probate transaction? I would be like, I would call you.
That was like my first one, so I really didn't know, but I just called. I literally just called downtown to the probate court. Okay. And I explained the situation, and I said, what does she need to do? Because in this case, her mom had passed, and she needed to, take over her estate. So I just explained what happened, asked what we need to do, and then they told me, you got to come down here. She has to fill out this, and that, and then we have to get it filed. So I literally picked her up. We went downtown, took her there to get the paperwork filed, and back then they actually like showed us exactly what to do. Like, it was someone at the counter that said, okay, you need to complete this. And then we took it back to the counter. If anything was wrong, they told us, no, you got to put this, and that. Mm-hmm. They were very helpful.
Yeah, now they don't do that.
No. This time I thought it was going to be easy like that. It wasn't.
Well, so I feel like you and I are very similar in the fact that if something comes up that we don't know, we ask and we figure it out. Like, we're gonna. But then this newer generation, and I don't want to speak for like every realtor, but this newer generation of realtors, they don't go above and beyond for their clients. No. So if they have a client that's interested in a house, they don't even call the listing agent to ask them questions about that house. They don't even reach out to the listing. They might text you.
Yeah.
Right.
I could see that.
And I don't mind texting. I like texting.
Yeah. But some things you do have to call, especially if it's business. Yeah. And you need to get an understanding of something or know exactly what's going on. Yeah. Like, you can't just text that. Like, if I want to know about probate, I can't just text and say, hey.
Right. Yeah.
Tell me the process.
I know, and so I think it's very interesting how the world is changing to like this newer generation when it comes to.
What is that?
I don't know what that noise is.
It's like right in my ear. Was
it us or was it out there?
It sounded like it was out there, but it was like right in my ear.
Yeah.
Strange.
Okay. So.
Yeah, but I noticed that.
Well, not even just real estate, but when it just anything, like jobs in general, like what are we going to do? Because these kids, like these days, don't want to work. Mm-hmm. They don't want to get their driver's license. Have you heard that like kids aren't getting their driver's license?
That, but my kids are so totally different. I think like my oldest daughter, she was so on top of it as far as getting her license. Yeah. Like, I didn't have to do anything. She called around. She found the place where she was going to go to do her driver's training. She knew, like, all the steps. Okay, I got to do this, and that. Because, it's completely different from when I was her age. Yeah. But she was on top of it, did it herself. She was on me about, like, taking her training, teaching her how to drive. Good. My other daughter, she's a little lax. She wants to get her license, but she's not as hands-on as my older daughter. She wants me to do everything.
Yeah, so she doesn't have her license?
She doesn't yet.
How old is she?
She's not, but she's about to be 16.
Oh, so she's right at that age.
Yeah, okay. But she hasn't went to driver's training or anything. My other daughter,
she's not late.
As soon as she was 15, like, driver's training right away.
Yeah. No, but there's 20-year-olds that like don't have their license.
Yeah, I've been hearing that though. But yeah, it's like my kids, they both want their license.
Okay, what is that?
Why is it right in our ear?
Wait, is it like? What is that? Is there a ghost in here?
Like literally,
Tyraa, your phone keeps lighting up when it's going off. What is this? Is it your phone vibrating?
Maybe it's my phone. You're like, is it a ghost?
You have got us scared. Is your phone vibrating this whole time?
Is it though? Mm-hmm. Okay. Because listen, I follow this lady. I hate to get off subject, but hey, we're just talking. Yeah. I follow this lady on TikTok. And she's like a ghost follower or something.
Oh, don't get me started on these ghosts.
Oh my gosh. She has like this little machine thing that she has where she goes around and just like look for things. Have you seen it'll make like noises like that.
Wait, has she shown a ghost on her YouTube channel?
It won't be like an actual ghost, but one time she took the thing in there and she was like putting it around different areas, and then she got in this one area and it was like this light. It was like this ray of light. She was like, look at all that energy. It's something right there. It's something right. Can you hear us? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Like, that's how she was. Oh my God. But you could see like the light. Yeah. And it looked like some energy.
Well, I used to love going onto like YouTube or like watching videos of like ghost like videos where they find an actual ghost in the house or something.
Have you saw that?
Yeah,
before?
like they'll take like a picture and then there'll be like a orb or there'll be like a face or something.
That's what she was saying, that was an orb.
Yeah, it's super creepy. I haven't really looked them up in a while, but I used to.
I never was into that type of stuff, but like just going through TikTok and seeing that, it's very interesting. Yeah. And I like couldn't stop watching it.
Yeah. And also, do you know, a lot of people don't know this, but if a house is haunted, we don't have to disclose it to the buyers.
Yeah. And funny thing, the same one I was talking about that I just closed yesterday. Yeah. So the house burnt down, right? Well, it didn't burn down, but it burnt up.
Okay.
And I was like, I felt like I was saying too much because we were talking. This was before the buyers came in. Me and the agent were just talking. Mm-hmm. And I was telling him, like, we were talking about the fire damage because it has fire damage. Okay. And I'm just talking and I'm like, yeah, because actually the son was in there and then he was he was like, wait, did he burn up in there? And then I was like, shoot, I said too much. And I was like, yeah, I was like, I think so.
But he burnt in the house?
But he actually did. And I didn't mean to expose, like,
wait, the buyers asked you
all
this?
Of that. No, it was the agent at first.
Oh.
So I was about to tell him that, but I didn't finish because I was like, no, I don't want to disclose all of that.
Yeah.
So then the buyers came in, and I guess he was talking to the buyer, like, while we were going through the paperwork process. The mom was signing, and then the daughter, he was talking to the daughter, and I guess he was telling her about the house fire. And then so they were like, wait, did he burn up in there? And I'm like, and I'm a very terrible liar. Like, yeah, I just can't lie. Like, if I lie, you would know I'm lying.
So he actually passed from being burnt in the fire?
He actually got burnt in the fire.
Oh my God.
And the way that I end up exposing it to the agent kind of is because I was telling him that the seller wanted to make sure that the person buying the house wasn't this particular guy, because she feels, when I started talking about it, I had to keep talking. I was like, because she feels that he has something to do with the fire.
Oh, wait.
And it was her
son that died in the fire?
Yes.
Where was she at?
She was just, you know.
She didn't live in the house?
No, she didn't live in the house. He did. He lived in the house. But they found out that this guy that was in there, he lived in the house as well, and he got out.
Oh, so they think he lit it on
fire.
So
they think he has something to do with that, because only his room caught on fire, and he died from the fire.
No.
So they think he had something to do with it. So I didn't go into all that details, but when I started going into details, I was like, wait, so he died in the house? And I'm like, shoot, I didn't mean to say that.
That's why you have to be, okay, that's why I say as little as possible when people ask me questions about my listings.
I was we were just talking like agent to agent.
I know.
But then he shared it with the buyer, and then I didn't even share that he died in the house. But then she was like, wait, so did he burn up in the fire?
Yeah.
And I couldn't lie. I was just like, yeah. I was like, yeah, that's what happened. So
sometimes I oversay things that I don't want to say too.
I hate when I do that.
I do too. I'm like, why did I say that?
I know. In my mind, I'm like, why did I just say that?
But also, I think like I'm very conscious. There are a lot of agents that they aren't conscious of it, and they'll just ramble to every single person.
Right.
Like, I've been on the phone with listing agents, and they have literally told me the seller's life story.
Yeah.
And I'm like, great, thank you. You gave me everything I needed.
Yeah.
Click.
Yeah, and it's like people wonder why, and that's the whole thing behind not, like, if you get multiple offers, not saying what the other offers are. Yeah. And then some agents don't understand why you can't tell them. It's like, I work for the seller. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to tell you what the price is so you can know where to come in at. Like, I have to let everyone get an opportunity to submit their highest and best offer.
Right.
You know, so I'm really good on that end, but it was just like, we were waiting for the buyer to get there, and we were just kind of chatting back and forth, and I'm like, I said too much. But yeah, so that was like kind of a sad story because he did actually burn in there, and then that's why she just really just wanted to get rid of the house. She really didn't care what she would get for the house, but she just really didn't want that one guy to get the house, and that was kind of hard too because it's like I'm putting it on the market, so whoever gets it gets it. But I had to reassure her, like, look, this is not that person. This is like a lady. It's not even a guy, so you don't have to worry about that. But I was just sharing that with the agent, and then I said too much. So those things happen. But yeah, but they were just like, the mother was kind of cool about it. She was like, well, we'll really just have to bless that house. It's going to be all right. But the daughter was still like, so he died in the house? Like, she was really like,
the things that we deal with being real estate agents.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
But at least we were at closing.
I don't know how agents handle like 15 transactions at once.
I do that.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it because I will have like 3 transactions going on at once, and I'm stressed out because I'm getting text messages from all 3 clients. Yeah. Their significant others. I'm getting calls from the lenders, calls from the just from everybody, literally. And then people are sassy, like rude. And then it ruins my whole mood for the day. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's just a lot, man. Like,
it's terrible, especially if you're dealing with a not so great agent.
Oh yeah, like, I had one of those.
That could be terrible. Like, I just had an experience with this agent that and I haven't had this in a while, but he was just not a pleasure to work with, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Like, he just wasn't. And he was one of those agents where he just caught an attitude. This may have been the first ever, but he literally hung up on me on the phone.
Yeah, I've had that.
Like, he called me and he was asking me a few questions, and then I got ready to explain, and he just said, da 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 da, doom, and just hung up on me. Yeah, he just, whatever he said, and it just clicked.
Oh my God.
I was like looking at the phone for like 30 seconds, like, did he just hang up on me? Yeah. I had to just laugh, and then I just was like, well, you know what? Maybe he's having a bad day, but you know what? He didn't have to take it out on me, but that's okay. Yeah. So whatever. He's like, is your buyer gonna close? Is he gonna close? Yes or no? And then just hung up. I'm like, because I'm like, the whole issue with this whole deal is this title company that you're using. You know, like, the whole issue was the title company. And he was blaming it on my buyer for not being ready to close, but it really was the title company that was like dragging their feet. So I'm like, really? It's your title company? As soon as I said that, I guess I like pressed his buttons or whatever. Yeah. And he just went off on me and just hung up. Wow. So I'm like, I had
an agent. They were putting up an offer on one of my listings, and this listing was for a family member, so I did it for a discounted, amount. I did it for 5%. And so I was taking 2.5%, and 2.5% was going to the buyer's agent, right? Mind you, like, I spent a good amount of money on marketing this house. Like, I ran like 3 ads on Facebook. I went all out with photos and videos. I know you know what house I'm talking about. I went all out with photos and videos for this listing. I had a agent call me questioning. First off, he's questioning my ability to pull comps for the house, saying it's not going to appraise when the house is on the water. I was like, you're looking at comps that aren't even on the water. There's a big difference between the value of a house that's not on the water and one that's on the water. Right. And then he had the nerve to say, are your clients stern on the commission that they're giving the buyers? And I said, yeah.
I hate when agents even bring up the commission, but go ahead.
So you know what he did?
What?
He put 3%. Buyer's agent to receive 3% on an addendum.
I've had that happen before, but I can't believe he did that.
And then, so he offered higher than the ask price because he thought it would make up for his commission.
But that's not right, though.
That's not
right.
Go
ahead with that, but I'm going to speak on that.
On top of it, he's got, and I know agents feel differently about this, but he charges a transaction coordination fee. I don't charge transaction coordination fees because I do it myself. Eventually, I might have to get a transaction coordinator and pay them. But he
is that on top of the compliance fee, or is that the same thing?
It's like the same thing.
Because it goes hand in hand.
The same thing.
So you don't charge any fee?
No, I don't charge any fees. Almost $900. Transaction coordinators are not even $800. They're not even $800. You don't have to pay them. Why are you you are ripping off your clients right now, and you're doing them a disservice by calling me and being rude to me on the phone and questioning my ability to do my job. Yeah. And we didn't accept the offer. I didn't want to accept the offer. It's not because he was being rude. Obviously, if he had a better offer, we would have accepted. Yeah. But I didn't even want to work with him. Right.
But see, the thing about that is, with him putting that 3% to the buyer's agent or whatever, that's not your client. Your client is not asking for that. You're asking for that. And what we have to realize is we're just in the middle. Everything that we're submitting is supposed to be what our client is offering. I don't see how his client asked for 3%. Like,
probably didn't, but I feel like this agent was pulling the wool over his client's eyes on multiple things. About the transaction coordination fee that was like $850, almost $900. And then he is asking for 3%, which is doing a disservice for his client, because he's pissing me off, because I put a lot of work into marketing this thing. There's no way you're getting a higher commission than me. Right. Like, I've invested a lot of money into this
and house. Your client's not asking for 3%. So how could you even put that on the offer?
Because he wants me to take the lower amount. Right. Or he wants to make it up by offering higher on the house. Yeah. No, that's not how it works, dude.
No. Yeah, that's crazy. I've had that happen a couple times. Not many, maybe once or twice. But I've always felt like that's not right to do that, because you're presenting an offer for your client. Your client is not asking for 3%. Like, they don't care. They just want the house. Yeah. You're asking for that. It's not your offer.
Right. And then we got another offer that came in, and they were kind of going back and forth, like, competing, you know? And then once I told the agent that we got another offer, all of a sudden they want to switch around their offer and make it better. And, if we do 2.5% commission, will you accept it? No, you should have done that from the beginning. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That was definitely a disservice.
That was disservice. So agents don't do your clients a disservice by doing that. And
it's like, so many agents do that, though. They're giving their clients a disservice, and I always look at it like, if only they knew that you didn't get this house because of your agent. Like, your agent didn't do their job.
Oh, yeah. You know how bad I wanted to literally tell him, like, you didn't get this. Again, it wasn't because the offer or the agent was rude to me. If they would have gave a better offer than the other offer, we would have accepted it. I would have sucked it up, and I would have just dealt with that client or that agent. But he didn't help the problem at all. So, anyways, off that topic.
Right. Because we could go on and on about these agents sometimes. Yeah. So, but I work with good agents too, but
it's so much better when you work with better, like, nice agents. You can communicate effectively, like, you get the job done quick, and like everybody's happy.
Everything. And I love smooth. Like, I love when things don't get complicated. I hate complicated. I don't know about you, but this is not only with real estate. I like easy. I don't like anything, even in real estate, anytime something starts getting complicated for me, I like back away. Yeah. So, I just like things to go smooth and for it to be no problems and whatever. I don't mind, like, doing some extra work or what I need to do. Right. But when it starts to get complicated, I'm like, oh, man.
So, let me ask you, in a relationship, if there's, like, somebody that's, like, kind of trying to start an argument with you, do you back away?
Yeah, I don't like arguing. Yeah. But if you push me to that limit, I will. So I'm one of those people that I can take a lot, but if you push me, like, to that point, like, I'll go off.
Yeah, so if somebody does something that you don't agree with, let's say, like, your boyfriend did something you didn't agree with, would you bring it up to him? Or would you just kind of keep it to yourself because you don't like conflict?
Yeah, no, I bring it up.
Okay.
So, only because I'm one of those people where I can't hold it in.
Okay.
So, if something's bothering me or whatever, I always bring it to the table.
Okay.
So, that's just me, especially with people that I'm close with. Mm-hmm. If it's someone I don't really care about or whatever, and I don't need to bring it up, like, I'll just let it go. But if it's someone I'm close to and I really love, like, I have to bring it up. I can't keep it in.
Okay.
What about you?
No, I'm exactly what I just said. Like, if somebody does something that, like, makes me upset or I feel some type of way about it, I'll just ignore them.
Okay.
Because I don't have the energy to argue. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And also, I don't like feeling like a bother. That's like my one big thing.
I'm like that too. The bother thing.
I have such a hard time asking people questions, and I had to get used to that when it came to real estate because I didn't know everything when it came to real estate.
Yeah.
But I don't like feeling like a bother and like feeling like somebody has to go out of their way to help me.
Yeah. I'm like that for sure.
Yeah. So I feel like if I'm constantly like nagging on you, like I didn't like how you did this, I feel like I'm being a bother, so I just won't say anything. But then obviously it reflects in my body language. I'm upset, you know?
Like, it's better for me to just let it out, explain how I feel or whatever, and then go from there. Like I said, when it's someone that I care about, anyone else, like, I'm not even gonna put my energy into this because you don't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was more like you when I was younger, and then I learned, it was a learned thing, where I learned that I can't just keep this in. And it was mainly from being married. Because I was married for like almost 15 years. And I learned through that marriage that when it was something that was on my mind or bothering me, I had to say it, as opposed to just keeping it in.
Yeah, because when you're married, like, you need, I feel like when you're married, like, you need to work through it and like not give up.
Yeah.
But when you're not married, it's easy to give up, right? Because there's like no marriage there.
Yeah.
There's like no tie. So my issue is that I would just, when I find something that I didn't like about somebody, in my mind I'm like, oh, well, I'll be happier single. Let me just exit out of this relationship real quick so I can make myself happier.
But that's a good thing though.
It's not a good thing because then it's like I'm never going to be with anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, until you find that person, though, that you're like, okay, this person is worth it. Like, I don't want to just exit out of it. I want to really just put in this work to actually make it work. Yeah. I just think you haven't found that person yet.
Yeah.
But I feel like it will come because, like I said, I was the same way with that. But when I did finally get married, I was even that way in the beginning. But I learned that, you know what, I need to just say whatever is on my mind because we need to address this and nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
So that's how I became like that. And now it's like that with anyone that I'm close to. Like, I need to get it out, and whatever happens from there just happens, but at least I got it out.
Yeah, well, speaking on the topic of marriage, because I was telling you about this before we got on the podcast, I feel like the American dream has kind of adjusted, right? Like, I don't know, my perception, like, back in, like, my parents' era, the American dream was to, like, get married and have kids and work a corporate job where you had, like, nice benefits and have a nice house. And now I feel like the American dream is to be an entrepreneur, making tons of money, living in your sky-rise apartment in the city, single, going on vacations with your girls by yourself, right? Like, I feel like that the American dream
it's changing.
Has changed.
Yeah, it's definitely changed. Because even think about it before it was the American dream is the husband go to work, the wife stay at home mom, cooks, cleans, take care of the kids, because that's kind of how I grew up. Like, my mom never worked. My dad always worked. He worked for GM, and my mom never really had to work. I remember, like, one point in our life where I think my dad was, like, laid off or something for a while, and we needed extra money, so my mom went and picked up a job, but it literally was maybe just for, like, a year or something from out my entire growing up. So it was always my dad worked, my mom stayed at home, cooked, cleaned, and that was it. So it went from that to a woman starting to work, you know, having her own career and all of that. Now it's like the single life, you know. So
how did we get to that point? Because my family is very similar to yours. My dad worked for Detroit Diesel. He's actually retiring next year, so he's worked there since he was probably my age, 28. So, but my mom, she eventually was stay-at-home mom for a bit. And then when we went to school, she went back to work. She worked in the school system, whatever. But yeah, like, people aren't having kids anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
But I think it's more to that not having kids thing, because, you know, I'm like the conspiracy theorist.
Well, tell us, what do you think?
But population control.
Yeah.
Like, everything is population control, and I feel like it's like things being put in the food that are causing us
to not be able to have
kids. Not be
kids?
able to produce, or causing men to not be in the mood or whatever. Like, I think it's stuff in the food. I think it's like in the chemicals, even like with the hair relaxers I was telling you guys about. It attacks like the women's like genital areas or whatever, where you can't eventually produce. So I feel like it's come down to everything that they've put out here to ultimately be population control, because it's true, like, people aren't having kids like they used to. Like, you always used to see pregnant women like all the time. Like, now it's like every now and then, like, you'll see a pregnant person or something. It's not all the time. So
that's interesting. I didn't look at it as that, like, perspective of like, they can't have kids. I just felt like a lot of people don't really want kids anymore.
That too.
Because, like, we can't even afford them at this point. Like, the world has become so expensive. Yeah. But on top of that, it's like, I'm really curious to see, like, what the abortion rate is now compared to what it was back in the day.
It's probably that too, but that's another form of population control, I feel, too. Even just making it so easy for people to have abortions. Like, it's another form of what they've put out here for population control. But it's also that mindset too, to not even want kids, you know, like it otherwise back in the day. But you remember, like, back in the day, people would have like 7, 8, 9, 10 kids.
I don't know how.
Like, my grandma like had like 9 kids.
Yeah, no, same. So, well, my grandma is like one of 7.
Yeah, and it's like, it was always, before that, it was like more and more kids, and I think it's just like slowed down. Like, that whole mindset has changed completely. I haven't really sat down and just thought about like what is changed that. Right.
No, I don't know what it, and also I think like we've become a little bit more like what's the word I'm trying to think of, like, selfish. Like, we don't have time for a kid. We don't want to give them any of our time. Like, we like our own time, right? Like, we're working all day, and then our time off, like, we want to enjoy what we're doing. I don't really want to take care of a kid, and like, I feel like that's kind of my mentality.
It could, because like this whole world and this generation has just come up to being like entitled type of, and I think a lot of that has to do with like the internet and just having easy access to everything. And so maybe it's like that entitlement comes with like a selfish type of attitude, like where I want my time, and you know, so I don't know, it could have to do with that as well.
Or just people living their single lives and not really in a committed relationship, and if it's like a one night stand and they get pregnant, that's how they get pregnant. But if you're not in a relationship, then
or the music. Well, I know maybe I could speak like for more of like our community, like the African American community, or that whole culture. The music that has come out, like I'll say like the Nicki Minaj's and the Megan, what's her name?
Megan Thee Stallion.
You know, I don't even know the stuff no more, but the music that they come out with promotes more of a like domineering,
bad bitch,
type of thing,
like single girl in the streets. Like Sweetie has that song, like I'm back in the streets.
That's what they're promoting. But it all goes with like because like with these artists and stuff, they don't even really like own themselves. It's like they put out the music that they're told to put out. Like you have to agree, like they don't probably want to just keep putting out that same type of music, basically saying I'm a hoe, basically. But that's what the record companies want them to put out, so they're pushing that image or whatever, and then they know that that's what goes into the people that listen to it. That's what goes into their minds.
That's super interesting. I didn't even think about that either.
Ultimately, that's their thinking. Like,
well, same thing with like shows and movies and like YouTube. Like I watch YouTube, and I feel like a lot of the younger generation does watch YouTube videos, like in replace of cable.
My kids definitely do.
Yeah, and we watch vlogs of like girls like our age, like, doing makeup tutorials and having fun, and like they don't necessarily have kids, right? So that's interesting too.
It's like, I think the way they look at it is like bringing a baby into the mix is like gonna mess like their whole like little thing that they got going on. But I think that's a little good in a way, because you're actually using your brain a little bit. Like,
but we don't want to use our brains these days. The younger generation doesn't want to use their brains these days.
So but they're still being controlled. I still feel like it's mind control, like through the music and the media and, like you say, YouTube and all of that stuff that they're taking in. Like that's how their life is ultimately becoming. So yeah, it could get deep, but we could do that on another episode.
Right, I was gonna say we probably should end it now, because I think we're at like probably 30 minutes. So okay, so stay tuned to next podcast. Nicole will be joining us back on the podcast again. And we'll see you then.
All right,
peace.
Bye, guys. All right.